I can confirm for you that Iran has maintained that there have been all their commanders are doing just fine. All the commanders who they say were targeted in these strikes are fine. They're all in safe locations. That's the communication that's come in right now from Iran. There's also right now a statement from NATO, in which NATO has said we're closely following developments in Iran and the region. Remember, there's been an offer from the European Union saying we will mediate, we will step in. We are speaking to both sides. On your screens right now are images from Doha, where massive fire seems to have broken out post an explosion. Those are the images on your screens from Doha, where we did tell you that there were multiple reports suggesting that big bangs, massive explosions were heard in the heart of the city. Mind you, these are US bases that have been targeted, but inevitable really that in many of these areas there could be civilian casualties as well, and there have been reports trickling in on those kind of casualty counts across these countries as well. On the point of mediation, Sandeep, is that even something that's possible right now with how things have escalated? You know, you've got countries saying that we can go ahead and respond to the manner we deem fit. Then you've got US and Israel continuing to say that if Iran continues, we will hit again. Iran saying there's no question of us just sitting back and watching. Have we gone too deep, too far to even talk about mediation now?
Akshita, it's never too deep or too far. You cannot rule out mediation. In fact, Iran has asked for the UN to intervene in this because they know exactly this is going to spiral out of control. If this continues, you are going to be looking at an escalatory ladder, and then Iran will possibly carry out what it's threatened to do in the past, which is to block the Straits of Hormuz, expand the conflict, ensure that it causes the maximum amount of damage. And if the regime feels that it's going down, it will try to cause huge damage on all of the regional assets of the US and its allies. So it's a very, very unpredictable moment that we're looking at over here. And the strikes are a little surprising. The ones that we've been seeing today is because the US and Iran were engaged in diplomatic dialogue until a few days back, and we were kind of looking at it with a lot of hope that there would be some outcome out of this. But clearly the US and Israel seem to have seized the opportunity to go ahead with these airstrikes. The four primary asks of Iran in these negotiations are that they completely stop their nuclear program, they hand over the enriched uranium, they basically cap their entire nuclear program, and of course stop their ballistic missiles program, shut down the entire ballistic missile program. The fourth one, of course, is to stop supporting its regional proxies. These are the four main asks in the negotiations. Very tough for the Iranian regime to agree to all of them. I'm sure they've looked at capping the nuclear program. It's been done in the past under the Barack Obama administration. There was a cap on Iran's nuclear program, but that was taken off by President Trump. And right now, today, it appears that he's taken the military course. But it's still not too late for dialogue to resolve this very, very, let's say, a minefield that we are heading into in West Asia.
Okay, I'm just going to get the latest update coming in. The Israeli military has confirmed that there's been a new wave of Iranian missiles launched towards Israel, which is why many of our guests also had to leave us because of the alert they immediately received to go into their bunkers. There's been a new wave of Iranian missiles. The last time around this alert had come in, reports did suggest about 30 to 70 such missiles were fired towards Israel. One of them did manage to hit a house in northern Israel. But besides that, now the information from the Israeli military is that there's a new wave of Iranian missiles launched towards Israel, and expect this to keep happening. This, unfortunately, at least for the next 24 hours, could be the new normal for Israel. Most of, in fact, the Israelis who joined us said we're used to this. We're used to these kind of sirens blaring and immediately hiding. But in this case, the threat is very real because missiles are headed towards Israel right now, and we are seeing constantly the stream of information from Israeli military to the people saying, move to your bunkers, there is more coming, more missiles headed our way. As we get you all of the images coming in, I just want to highlight for you every single location where we've seen reports and images, videos of these strikes in the Gulf countries, in the Middle East. On your screens are Doha. We're also going to put out for you what we've seen from Kuwait, what we've seen in Bahrain, in the UAE, and many other locations. Let's put that out on our screens as well to show you the scale of what we're talking about right now, of what we've seen and how quickly this has spread. Why have we seen strikes in each of these countries? Because these are where crucial strategic command bases, air bases, naval bases of America are. And there's no doubt, Sandeep, that America would have been fully prepared for exactly this, knowing that their air bases, their naval bases would be targeted in the manner that it is right now. But there is the crucial point that Trump also cannot afford casualties. Look, if American blood is spilled, he's going to face massive domestic backlash.
Absolutely, and that's one reason why a lot of these bases which are being struck by Iran, Shida, were vacated over the last couple of days. There were at one point earlier this year something like 10,000 US servicemen in all of these bases. Now a lot of them have been thinned out, they've been moved to other locations, they've been dispersed to ensure that there's no loss of American life when these expected retaliations from Iran would take place. And that's what Iran is doing. It's trying to raise the costs for Israel and for the United States by striking all across the region, by attacking all these bases in all of these countries in the hope of deterring further attacks. Because clearly, like I said, the regime in Iran is extremely fragile. Right now it is at its most vulnerable it's ever been in more than 4 decades. If this pace of attacks, these relentless waves of airstrikes continue, and if there is a popular uprising within Iran, then it's going to be very difficult for the regime to survive. However, improbable that scenario might seem, that airstrikes could change a regime in Iran. The regime in Iran is all trying to protect itself. It's all about survival. It's all about protecting itself. That's what it's been doing for 4.5 decades, and that explains this entire architecture that it's set into place, whether it is your ballistic missile program, the nuclear weapons program, the network of proxies around West Asia. It was all about protecting the regime. And today the regime is it's vulnerable. It's been hit by airstrikes, missile strikes by both US and Israel. And it's anybody's guess what the regime will do next to ensure that it survives in Iran.